3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, Minnesota Vikings fans? Welcome back to a special edition show of House Calls because it is your boy's birthday. The Skull Doc turned 35 today. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Dave. Great to have you, partner. This show is brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. And we got some news, man. Brian Flores is back. And that is big, big news because it wasn't really trending that way. We didn't know that he was coming back. In fact, I would say the favorite scenario was that he was going to leave us. And shit, there was 10 jobs available this cycle, and nobody wanted Brian Flores. That screams collusion, man. But
I have a
Dave,
theory.
Great to see you, man.
Great. Yeah, great to see you too, man. I have a theory. So Zimmer back in the day was a well-known defense coordinator, and they thought, why isn't this guy getting head coaching jobs? And he interviewed for him. Well, after we hired him, word kind of spread that the reason why he wasn't getting jobs is when he got asked the question, who else are you going to bring along with you to coach? Who's going to be your offensive coordinator? Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? He would say, haven't thought about it. I'm like, so that's the thing is like, you need to know in many cases in a lot of organizations, like, hey, start name dropping people you're going to bring into your organization. And especially if you're in a situation where you have 2 interviews, that shit's going to come up. And I think it might not be specifically that, but as you can tell, there are a couple people that have come out about him, about not liking to work with him, especially out of Miami. And then now Pettin, which I'm kind of throwing that away. I think that's jealousy, pretty much. And I actually looked down on him for actually switching sides. You're a defensive guy, and you switch the offense just because you don't like a dude. What use for you? What use for you this year? In fact, once you switch to the offense, we did better on defense and shit on offense. So it doesn't look good for you, man. So stay retired, Pettin. Anyways, so my thought is there's that out there. He really can't. I don't think he really can go into a job and say, here's all the people I'm gonna bring with me, because he's starting to look like he's got a little bit of reputation. So he's got that obstacle ahead of him too. But once Zimmer, just finally it came down to it, team saw that, he had potential or brilliance or whatever they thought, that it was worth it. And then, hey, Spielman can worry about the other jobs or bringing other people in. But we got a good guy like here, after, our first defensive coordinator under Kevin O'Connell. Think he's learned his lesson, but we got a guy that can bring in other people. He brought in Flores. So we have a head coach that has relationships and can bring in talented coaches, which he'll have to continue doing after losing, a good one.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Sometimes people are just meant to be coordinators. Maybe Brian Flores is meant to be a coordinator. I think, I would love to see him get the chance as a leader of men and see how he does the second time around. But there's clearly something outside of the situation with him suing the league that is preventing him from getting these jobs, because the Steelers seem like a slam dunk to me. He was a coach there. I think he was the linebackers coach for them before he came over and joined us, being our defensive coordinator. And he was recommended by Mike Tomlin, which should say a ton, right, for the Roonies. And instead they go with McCarthy, which is just, I don't know, man. I mean, he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a very underrated coach. He gets a lot of hate, like unnecessarily, but it just seems like a very boring hire for them. Like, are they really
right?
Are they really going to run back McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers? Like, come on. Like, what are they doing?
Well, there was thought that he's better at developing young quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have to go get one, that he'd be a guy ready to do it. Plus, it sounds like he has Pittsburgh in his blood.
He does.
What it sounded like. So they went with him. Flores is just 1 year as a linebacker coach, didn't have a whole lot of history. So I probably would have rolled the dice and went with Flores, just because of the elite defense he can put together. So, and is it your birthday?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I let
35.
the whole show go without me knowing it was your birthday.
Yeah, that's hey, once after 21, it just makes you feel older, like you get less and less meaningful. But thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean,
Happy
talk
birthday. We got Brian Flores back.
hell yeah. Just talk about how big this is for the Vikings, not only for next year but going forward. I think that Brian Flores is just a force multiplier for our defense. And let's be honest, without Brian Flores this last year, they don't win 9 games. They probably win 4, right? Like this is
Oh yeah,
deal. This is a
100%. Those we don't win. We might win 1 or 2 of the last 5 games. If it wasn't for his defense. Kept us in games. There was a couple of things. I know someone brought up the Seattle game, like Seattle destroyed us. I'm like, fuck, we were offensively horrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the time the second half came around, there was nothing left on defense. It's like, yeah.
I mean, once what's his face, the quarterback, Brosmer, threw that pick 6 jump shot or whatever you call that little hook shot thing. He threw it right to the defense and they threw a pick 6 from our own 5-yard line where we could have scored a touchdown. Defense is like, yeah, bro, this isn't our day. Like they were never going to win that game.
Yeah. And it does gives me the same hope I had going into this season. Like I thought for sure with 11 open, I forget how many openings. I thought, well, God, we're going to lose them for sure. We didn't. So that bodes well. The fact that we kind of expect McCarthy to grow a little bit in his 3rd year. Hopefully he gets healthy and stays healthy. That's a must. I mean, I think that was the first thing on Purple Daily's like keys to next season or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, fuck this. Everything he says is like 100%, man.
He needs to put on some weight this offseason for sure.
Really, when you look at the guys like Josh Allen and over there with the Chargers, Herbert, you kind of see a big difference. He's not that much shorter than those guys. Probably close to the same height, but he's just more frail, But he is pretty quick and limber, but I do like the way he handles runs and he dives for first downs and stuff because I really don't like.
I almost feel like it's safer. Yeah, I almost feel like it's safer leading with your head
because what you're controlling. You're controlling that. People
how many times
down after people know you're giving your body up.
Yeah, how many times do you see like Justin Fields is the first name that comes into my mind where he goes to slide Teddy Bridgewater in the playoffs when Mike Zimmer was like, floored against the Rams where he's like, fuck me, fuck you, right? Like he was just lost for words and he was about to go out there and fight. Teddy got knocked out with a hit that where he slid and the guy clips him and the back of his head hits against the frozen turf.
At
CCF.
It's so much better. I'm hopefully they keep. Now slide if you're in the open field and you're trying to close out a game and nobody's around you, but someone's coming up and sliding. I think this is much better because you're giving yourself up and they see that.
But yeah, back to the Brian Flores point. I mean, if it wasn't happening this year, I almost feel like it's not going to happen, Dave. With 10 jobs open, that was a lot of job opportunities. He got 2 interviews with the Ravens and with the Steelers. He got a second interview with the Steelers. But he just couldn't click and close. So I feel like his best opportunity now to get a head coaching job is with the Minnesota Vikings. If Kevin O'Connell gets fired, I think he'll get interviewed for the Vikings job. And if he doesn't get it, he's probably gone, I would guess. Not that the new coaching staff would kick him out, but would he have hard feelings and resign maybe?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think his best opportunity would be with the Vikings. Now the question is, would the Wilfs hire him? I don't know.
Dude, if I'm getting head coaching money and I'm a defense coordinator, I feel pretty good about myself, honestly. But no, yeah.
It's clear he wants to be a head coach, though. It came out that they are paying him, I think it's $9 million per year. He's the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. And we are going to talk about Wilf's ownership. I mean, let's just go into that right now because I think it's a good segue. Wilf's ownership. I saw online people were questioning if they are good owners. Now I know where I stand on this issue,
Yeah, I saw
and
yours.
and here is a perfect example of why I think they are top-notch NFL owners. It's clear that they care about this football team. It's clear that they will spare no expense for this football team, even though they are probably bottom third cash rich ownership in the NFL. But they just went out and made Brian Flores the highest paid defensive coordinator in football. That's a good ownership, right? Like they put their money where their mouth is to keep this man in Minnesota. Why? Because he produces wins for their football club.
Look at the stadium they built. Look at the practice facilities they built. Just it's amazing. It's a destination franchise. Um,
Do you think they
that'll
hurt?
tarnish this year, but go ahead.
Do you think they hurt some feelings back when the stadium deal was going down and they kind of threatened to move the Vikings out of Minnesota, before the deal was agreed upon and they built the stadium? Do you think some Minnesota fans in the area there like got upset with them and never have really let that go?
Just the PETA bird people, I think. Honestly, after they paid it, they put more money into it. Like they had an agreement; it was paid by taxpayers, but they went and added more money to do more improvements on the stadium that weren't there before. After the whole agreement happened, they put more money in. I think they paid off what they paid off the city, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think what they did, if they had any ill will, people wise, had any ill will against them, it's gone because of what they ended up doing. I think they reimbursed the city with it.
So the thing about the Wilfs that drives some people nuts, and Judd says this all the time on Purple Daily, is that the Wilfs just want to get in the tournament. He says that all the time. The Wilfs are the type of owners that just want to get into the tournament. They don't care if they are the lowest seed in the playoffs. They just want to make the playoffs every year because sooner or later you're going to win one that way. And I subscribe to the thinking that that's not necessarily true. They grew up Giants fans, and so the team, the Giants, I think they were the 6th seed in the wild card. They end up winning the Super Bowl because they got hot. Eli Manning got hot. Their defensive line was on fire, and they ended up beating the Patriots
Twice.
with a bunch of fluky plays like the Tyrese catch on his helmet, things like that. But I believe the research shows your best chance at winning a Super Bowl is to get that number 1 seed, right? Get the bye. Look at Seattle. Play 2 games at home, get your ass to the Super Bowl, go win it. And they, as in the Wilfs, have, I think, been reluctant as hell, and I think this is backed by, specific examples, to fully tank, to give the green light, to trade pieces away, to take a step back and truly be bad. The only time that I can really remember them being real bad was when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL in DC, and they ended up getting a pretty high pick. They were trying to suck for luck, but they didn't do a good enough job. They ended up taking Matt Khalil at number 3, I believe, instead of Luck at number 1. I mean, other than that, have the Vikings picked inside the top 5 picks? I don't think so. It's been a really long time. And I think they had an opportunity in 2022, I believe, to strip it down. Oh, yes, because that's when we made the decision to hire Kwesi. And if you remember, they had interviewed Ryan Poles, who took the Chicago job. And there was a lot of speculation, also led by Judd on the show, that Poles turned this job down because he wanted to go to a place where he could strip it down and build it up in his vision. And I think the Wilfs, again, speculation, told him, no, we want to stay competitive. And that's when they hired Kwesi, and Kwesi kept using this term, competitive rebuild. And everyone had thought that that was coming straight out of the mouths from ownership. Ownership wanted this team to remain competitive. And kudos to them. I think they mostly did it. They didn't win a playoff game. This regime still hasn't won a playoff game. And is that at the fault of the regime, or is that at the fault of ownership? I think it definitely has a hand in both. So that's my long-winded answer of saying I think they're great owners. However, maybe they need to learn to take a step back if the situation calls for it. And if it's time for you to suck, let your guys trust the process like the Patriots have just done with Drake May. Suck, take your quarterback really high, and build it back up and maybe go to a Super Bowl. So I'll let you talk now, Dave. Thanks for listening to my soap opera there.
Yeah. I don't find you'd have to say that what they did was potentially wrong this last time. And I mean, sure, Chicago, won the division this year, but they're the same as us in 22, in my opinion. Like where we weren't ready yet, but we ended up winning, and then we won 13 games. Then the next year, it was just early turnovers. Otherwise, I thought that team could have went a good distance. I thought it was ready, but we lost, Cousins. And then we won 14 games with Darnold, and defense kind of sputtered at the end. But that was a team that should have won. Now, they think Sam Darnold well, he couldn't have taken us anywhere. Look at how terrible he was last 2 games of the season. Well, it's also a learning experience. This is the first time he got there, so it's like, would he have done it with us? Would we have, how much we would improve? Now, I don't think we would have got the first seed, if we throw in all the injuries that we had, but we would have made the playoffs. We won 9 games with JJ McCarthy. We just needed to win 1 more, and we make the playoffs. So, I don't think we did the wrong thing. I don't. Every once in a while, we have you would go to the NFC title game. That's better than most teams. Most teams, big, and then you go look. Well, hey, let's, the blueprints there, the Jets, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, there's more of that than there is of,
The Patriots.
So that's my thought. As far as, them being, they're great owners. I think people just put stupid shit out there. Regular season games don't matter. Well, how do you get to the playoffs? Okay, I don't know. I think you had to win them. You had to win those regular season games.
It matters.
We win a lot of them.
Yeah, but playoff wins matter more, and this team does not have a lot of playoff wins since the year 2000. I think I saw it's only 3. That's a problem, and I think a big part of the problem is just quarterback. Like, this team needs a top 5 quarterback at some time in history.
Like when we lost to the Giants in the playoffs, did we need a quarterback or a defense that could do shit? It's not always the quarterback. It was that defense sucked. And then look at we played the Eagles, man. The defense was the number 1 defense in the league, and then gave up 37 points.
Of course, but your best route to win a Super Bowl is to have your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen, and Josh Allen still doesn't have one. So even then, like, to your points,
look at the 2 guys we got now. We got a young. In fact, I honestly think they weren't the better teams. I think the Seattle won because of a muff punt. Mm-hmm. I think Bo Nix plays in that game that Denver wins. Mm-hmm. It's that we don't have. I don't think we have the best 2 teams in the league, or at least they got in. They got in. They survived. Basically, I don't feel like these are the teams that dominated, got in the Super Bowl. They survived to get into the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you 100%.
But Darnold had a great game, and he, like you said last week, he had been struggling.
Let's talk about Darnold. This kind of segue there. I mean, that's the elephant in the room. What a mistake, right? That's what everyone's saying right now. What a mistake. How could the Vikings let that guy go? What the hell were they thinking? And everyone kind of forgets the context of that, right? And if you're a Vikings fan, you remember the context well. Sam Darnold had 70% of his games last year very, very good for the Minnesota Vikings. 30% of his
games.
Yeah, 4 bad games. Jacksonville, very bad game. Jets game overseas, very bad game. And then he finished the year with 2 very, very bad games. I mean, some of the worst quarterback play we've seen in terms of expected points added, even including McCarthy and Wentz this year. When you throw all those numbers in, Darnold's last 2 games at Detroit and then at Rams for the playoffs were some of the 2 worst games we've seen from a quarterback in Minnesota Vikings for the last couple of years. And so the Vikings were tasked with making a decision. Do we franchise Darnold? Because the fact is they extended the same offer as Seattle did, and Darnold chose them. Okay. So if you wanted to keep him, you had to franchise him. Okay. You had to keep him for a 1-year, $55 million fully guaranteed contract.
Or you could up the offer.
You could up the offer, yes, but it was pretty clear that he didn't want to stay here. He wanted to go out and get a new opportunity. So I'm just gonna go off the idea that you might have had to franchise him. Now,
well, and that makes you think, why would he want to leave? How did Kwesi handle it?
Correct. That's a
Makes
question.
Me start to question how Kwesi handles shit.
That is a question. But at the time, that $55 million of cap space looked awful enticing because you had a lot of holes to fill, right? They wanted 2 defensive tackles, which they
wasted their money on, right?
Correct. So that's pretty much where your guaranteed money for Darnold went, was Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. Okay. Now, last year, it was a huge hole for the Minnesota Vikings in terms of interior pressure. They really wanted to solve that. That's why they threw all their money there, hoping to solve that. It was better this year. Absolutely. It was better this year than it was last year, but they did not get their money value out of those players. So in hindsight, of course, you take Sam Darnold this year on the Minnesota Vikings, you might still be playing. Who knows? I mean, we don't know what it would have looked like. But at the same time, all I'm trying to say is that given the equation we had at the time, I didn't blame the Vikings for making the decision that they did to stick with JJ McCarthy. It does suck, as a fan, to see Darnold have all this success, go to the Super Bowl, not in a Vikings uniform. But at the same time, I'm extremely happy for Sam Darnold. He deserves this. He's a great
Seattle. I want him to win.
He's a great person, first and foremost. He's got a great heart. And he's a good quarterback, man. People still doubt him to this day. I'm sure there's still people who say he's going to turn into a pumpkin during the Super Bowl. And I think he's just proved everybody.
Favorite.
Yeah, they'll be the favorite because they have a great team, great defense. But good for that guy. To put a bow on, my thesis here, it's just that, first of all, JJ McCarthy's, he still has room to improve and to grow, and he's not a finished product. So we can't sit here, even if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks, we can't sit here and say, well, we know for sure that was the wrong decision. Because what if JJ McCarthy develops and is great and wins us like 2 Super Bowls down the road, right? I mean, we don't know yet. However, I will say that right now, even if it looks like the Vikings made the wrong decision, it really does.
So right now bring up Kwesi, it's his 4 drafts right now. He has 3 starters from his draft classes, maybe 4 depending on the game. Defense 0, but right now ESPN has Jay Ward starting, but I'm but normally on defense it's 0 starters from his draft classes. It's not good. And then
No.
And then you go in and say, we're a win now team. This is the, basically all things culminating to they said year 3 was going to be culmination. And now, we went to year 4 and you're thinking you're a win now team. And again, hindsight 2020. And I was okay with them leaving. I was bringing Sam Darnold back probably up until the playoff game. And then I was open to yeah, we can move on. I saw the worst quarterback game possibly I've ever seen because of the 9 sacks, and there were open dudes, and he wouldn't dump it off. He wouldn't get rid of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why, but I'm not paid to do that. And you're a win now team, and you got a window, and Sam Darnold, it's a what do I always say? It's the history of now. We see our own team, and we saw 4 bad games, but other teams had 4, 6, 8 bad games with their quarterback. We won 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
So we won 2 of the bad games. Otherwise, he played excellent in almost every other game, if not all of them. So they decide to, and if you think about it, they decided to go with a guy that didn't see the field, didn't see the practice field for an entire year. He's 2 years removed from the field, and we're going to start him week 1. And he won Player of the Week with 130 yards passing, and he had a great fourth quarter. But if you now look hindsight 2020 and all things considered, and you had Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl, yeah, it's a mistake, and it's going to add up. But again, more so for me is we have 3 starters from his draft class, and one of them played really, mostly bad this year, JJ McCarthy, and Donovan gets hurt. I think that's a great draft pick, and Addison is looking at being traded, potentially. Yeah. So that's his draft classes of 4 effing years.
Yeah.
So I would not shed a tear if they pulled the plug on Kwesi.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't shed one tear. And you know how I feel about him and his the music. You gave me crap about it, but him choosing players because he makes a connection through music with them. And I seen him like, hey, remember that song? And the guy goes, what? I'm like,
drives you nuts.
Connection with him apparently
this year too.
That he didn't have.
That's funny. Well, you just keep leading me into topics I want to talk about. So let's talk about Kwesi. Kwesi and KOC, hot seat ? Kwesi, I think yes for both. That's how I feel. I mean, Sam Darnold making the Super Bowl just throws a heater under their ass, like under their chair, because now the Wilfs got to be pissed, right? They got to feel embarrassed. Like, how did we make this bad of a decision going back to last year?
I think they love O'Connell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
They love O'Connell, and I think if O'Connell has his choice, he's probably going to want to bring Darnold back. I think if he has his choice, so I think more so Kwesi, if anybody's on the hotter of the seats, it would really have to go bad next year, I think, for O'Connell to get let go.
So if they win like 7-8 games, miss the playoffs, you think that he would still be safe?
I think he might go into the next year.
Okay. A lot of people think that it's playoff win or bust for O'Connell. So,
well, it depends on the circumstances, but I can see that.
Part of me thinks that the Wilfs are very loyal owners. They are not the ownership group that's going to pull the plug emotionally. Like Mike Zimmer had a chance to get fired way before he actually got fired.
Oh, and
he was not even close to being the level of I don't want to say leader, because Mike Zimmer, although rash and not, cordial or nice to people, I still think that he led the football team well until like the very end when he just got really bitter. But Kevin O'Connell leads in a manner that's just galvanizing. Like everyone is on his side because of his personality and the way that he connects with people. So I agree with you where I would say Kwesi's seat is much hotter than Kevin O'Connell's seat.
The people that say that O'Connell is like a player's coach and he's too soft on people, I don't think he is behind closed doors. I think he's in public. He praises in public and, punishes in private. I think that was one of the games, and that I think it was the quarterback, or I don't know what it was. That he's yelling. It wasn't the quarterback, I don't think, because it wasn't the quarterback. But it was during the 23 season, and we had fumbles, and he fucking you could hear him through the locker room just going off on him.
Yeah.
So when wins happen, he looks like he's the most rah coach, and probably one of the best post game speech givers in ever, right? But then he wasn't afraid to like, I'm gonna get all this shit from Amazon and fix this fucking fumbling problem, and he did. And we're on our way, man. We were 6-4, we're looking great. And then, of course, the Achilles. But
Yeah.
I think he's a great coach. I know some might not think
Dude,
that.
look at these three teams, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Browns, trying to find anybody to coach their team. And nobody wants to go to those shit shows. The grass is not always greener out there. Yes, if you have a chance to hire a John Harbaugh and you know you can land him, okay, you can let go of a coach of the year in Kevin O'Connell. But be careful what you wish for out there.
And he's the only coach from 2018
Yep.
That's been coach of the year that's still alive.
Wasn't he hired? He was 2022. He was hired in 2022.
Well, since 2018, every coach of the year has been fired.
Oh, gotcha.
Except for him. He's the only one still with his team.
Yeah.
2018 was Harbaugh.
Yep. And Stefanski's in there twice. Somewhere. Yep.
He won it twice.
Dayball was in there.
Yeah, that was at our expense. And I think, and we won fucking 13 games, right? So it was like, how did they win with 10?
Well, he beat O'Connell in the playoffs.
But it's not supposed to,
Yeah. So I think we're on the same page there. Kwesi is really on the hot seat here. He needs a good draft. He really does.
Oh,
and he needs rookies to actually produce in year one, because that's something we have not seen out of the Vikings outside of Addison.
Well, I like Dallas Turner. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a stud, and there's hope for JJ McCarthy. And if Jordan Addison stays, with us, then it's looking better. And Donovan stays healthy. It looks better, but it's not right now. It's not there yet.
Addison shares a birthday with me today, by the way. It's his birthday.
Jordan Addison's birthday.
Yeah, so we've all
celebrate?
formed.
How late you going out?
We've all formed a prayer circle that Mr. Addison stays inside. If you're gonna get drunk, sir, just stay the hell home. Damn, that guy.
And I'm not one to. And we talked about it last week. I'm not one to ship him off, yet. But I'm not gonna cry if we did get a good trade out of it.
Same. He's got to grow the hell up, and I told that to his dad. I don't know if you saw me talking to his dad.
Said something.
His dad said something like, when it came out that he beat the charges were dropped. He's like, hallelujah type emoji, right? And I was like, all right, sir, but let's not be out till 4 a.m. And then someone responded
and catch touchdown passes.
Someone responded to me, he's an adult. And then I responded, well, it's time he starts acting like one. Come on.
Yeah.
Grow the hell up, sir.
Yeah. You're hard to argue with.
Yeah. What's next? Super Bowl picks. Who you got? Who you got in the Super Bowl?
Seattle. Patriots should have lost that game if Denver's quarterback was healthy. Defense for Seattle kind of disappointed, right? But they might right their ship though. Darnold was good. I think Seattle's a better team. Better team should win.
This one might not be close.
Yeah, I thought if Denver won, right, it was going to be one of the biggest blowouts in Super Bowl history. And they had their shot. They had their shot to win that game, which made me feel great about it because it must be devastating to their coach.
I just don't. I think that the Patriots have had the easiest road to a Super Bowl that you can remember in recent history. Somebody posted on Twitter today, I saw this. They looked at the Patriots' schedule from week 1 through week 18, and all it said was coach fired, coach fired, coach fired, NFC South team, coach fired, coach fired. So it was just like all the teams they've played were so bad that they fired their coaches, or the teams were garbage teams. That was like most of their season. And then in the playoffs, they got a Broncos team without their quarterback. And then who did they beat the week? Oh, and then they played the Texans at home in terrible weather. And Stroud is just so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is broken.
He's in bust territory right now.
It's weird because he had such a good rookie season. And since then, it's like he forgot how to play football. I think I don't know what's going on there. That is super weird. Keep an
Yeah,
eye
he
on
looked like Kellen Mond.
Yeah, dude. Keep an eye on CJ Stroud, because I don't know if you can pick up his 5th-year option if he's looking like that. If that's a guy that
They will.
KOC gets his hands on at some point down the road, watch out for that as a reclamation project type thing. But yeah, partner, I'm right there with you. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win. They're going to cover the 4.5. I'm picking them by like 10 points to beat the Patriots. And Sam Darnold wins the Lombardi. Good for him.
MVP.
I'm dead a little bit
Favorite for
inside.
MVP too.
Yeah. And that's the most Vikings thing
But
ever.
Najigba, man, that guy turned out to be good. That was one of the guys I was really wanting to draft when we got Addison.
Mm-hmm. Packers should have drafted that guy. He should be a Green Bay Packer. And I thank them for this.
Yeah.
Instead, they got Matthew
I think
Golden.
he went ahead of Addison, right?
In Jigba?
Yeah.
I believe he did.
He went way early.
Isn't that a different
than
class?
expected.
Wasn't that a different class?
Oh, I think it was
Addison.
Yeah,
wasn't
I think it was the
Addison
same
and
class.
Addison was in this Zay Flowers and
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I'm
the
confusing with Zay
Chargers.
Flowers. I'm confusing with Zay Flowers that draft.
Quentin. Who's the Chargers wide receiver? Quentin something.
Yeah, I was confusing with Flowers.
So,
Flowers is the guy I wanted out of
Chargers-
Boston College.
I think the Chargers guy went first, and then it went Flowers, and then it went Addison. It was a run of 3 guys back to back to back in that draft.
Yeah, I really wanted. It was Zay Flowers who I was wanting, but Najigba is well thought of too. I don't know what year it was then. Yeah, maybe it was the same year. I don't know. I forget.
I want to say JSN is young. It was a year after the Addison draft, I believe.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, he was 23, round 1, pick 20. Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson. Yep. He was.
But isn't it the same year?
Didn't he start the run? Quentin Johnson, and then it was Zay Flowers.
Quentin went after him, a pick after Najigba.
Oh. So it was JSN.
Zay Flowers, 22. So he was in the same class.
So it was a run of 4 wide receivers.
Yep.
Give
it. Quentin Johnson. It was Najigba 20, Johnson 21, Flowers 22, Addison 23, and now it looks good because Quentin Johnson actually looked decent for.
So 4 in a row. Interesting. Speed Nos 88 says, I don't want Diggs or Bradbury to get a Super Bowl championship. So you're okay with Darnold getting one, but not those guys.
God, wouldn't that?
Bradbury's interesting. Like, I understand Diggs; he's kind of a D bag, but why Bradbury? Thank you, George, for saying happy birthday. Appreciate it, guys. Bradbury, he's a good dude. He just got bulldozed for multiple years. He's a good dude.
I think people don't want to see like a guy that we hate was struggling so bad to go to another team and all of a sudden do great. Sam Darnold was. I think we have a soft spot for Sam Darnold because.
I don't think Bradbury's been great though.
I don't.
I
Yeah.
think he's been
and the fact that he goes and wins a Super Bowl not being great, right? So
I think he's just been the same exact guy where like he's good in run blocking and he gets bulldozed in the passing game. I think it's the same dude. But I hear you. I'm also rooting for the Seahawks this game.
I guess people are really talking about us potentially bringing in a quarterback. You think that's JJ McCarthy's, that's it, and we're going to just go with him?
That's interesting because, first of all, the Vikings don't really lie to us a whole lot. Like when they tell us things, it tends to be true. And the end of year conference was, we want to add more competition to the quarterback room. Okay, so yes, they will add a quarterback. Who is it going to be, though? That's the question. On the most recent episode of Purple Daily today, I listened on my way home from work. Doogie, I think it was Doogie, said that he would not be surprised if whoever they bring in will be the starter, and it will be up to McCarthy to beat that person in training camp. Basically, they do not want to give JJ McCarthy the starting job. He has to earn that back, okay? But our boy Crack Rock on Twitter, who love him or hate him, believe him or not, I tend to believe that guy because he's had so many scoops before even, insiders have had scoops. Like, how the hell does he know that information? It's happened time and time again. This dude just has the in. He hangs out with the owners, hang out at the golf resorts. He came out on Twitter today and he said that Joe Burrow's not on the trade block. That's not going to happen, which not very surprising, but he kind of confirmed it. And then he said in a follow-up tweet that the plan is to roll with JJ McCarthy next year. They are still trying to develop him. That's the plan. So if I'm putting these pieces together, yes, they want to add somebody in that room other than Max Brosmer who can come in and actually be a starter if they needed that guy to be a starter. But they hope that JJ McCarthy will take a step forward and win that job in training camp. Now, what names work with this scenario I've painted for you? That's the tough question. Geno Smith ?
Did you hear about what Judd was saying about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. They think Kirk. I just don't know if I see Kirk wanting to come here if he's
to compete for. I think you'd want, if anything, you'd want to know that he's a starter going into it. So I would think he would come here for that to compete, to have an actual competition against McCarthy.
I'd be okay with Kirk as a backup, but if we're signing Kirk to be the starter next year, that doesn't scream playoffs to me, man. Like, I think you need a level higher than that. I'm on board with Kyler Murray.
It doesn't scream Super Bowl to me, but I think you can.
I don't even know if I can.
One more game.
Yeah, I don't even know if we can honestly make the playoffs with Kirk Cousins at this age. But Kyler Murray is super interesting to me because he has offset language in his contract, much like the Russell Wilson scenario when he went to the Steelers, meaning that if he's cut, you can sign him for a vet minimum deal. Okay, so there's no risk there. He comes in. Who? Kyler Murray.
Okay.
So if he's cut by the Cardinals, he can come in on a vet minimum deal, less than $1.2 million, and be your starter for a year. Allow JJ McCarthy to, develop behind the scenes, unless JJ McCarthy can beat him in training camp. I just don't see a downside with that scenario if that happens to be the case. Now you're going to have to talk Kyler Murray into coming here versus choosing the Steelers or whatnot. So I think, you probably have a good chance of doing that with Justin Jefferson on this team. So that's my top scenario, is if Kyler Murray becomes available, go get him, just because there's no downside in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we're not going to love any of these names, Dave, for next year.
We're not.
Geno Smith. I don't love the idea of Mac Jones at all because you have to send a second-round pick to then get Mac Jones, and he's going to want a contract extension. I sure as hell don't want to extend that guy. Like, that just screams bad idea to me. Kirk Cousins, I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Kirk Cousins, to be honest with you. Shit, I'd rather JJ McCarthy just beat out both of these people and be your quarterback next year and show signs that he's ready. But what do we have here?
Answer George Blunt's question. My mom's from Minnesota. I grew up in South Dakota. About 2.5, probably 4 to 5 hours from Minneapolis. Went there a few times. My grandma lived in Austin, Minnesota, home of the Spam Museum, where Spam was invented with the Hormel plant. So that's my history in Minnesota. Huge Kirby Bucket fan. There we go. I thought I'd answer that one.
Yeah. And I grew up a Randy Moss fan in the northwest part of Illinois, kind of by Galena, Illinois. It's the tri-state area where Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin all come together. And now I live in Chicago
teased as a child.
All the time.
Bears fan.
Yeah, and that's part of like growing up as a Vikings fan in a different state, is that you're the only one usually, right? And so you have to overcompensate and be a hard ass fan to show people like, your fandom. And so that's what I've done my entire life. And for better or worse, that's just who I am. That's my identity. And it wasn't until really like Purple Daily and the podcasting game started around 2015-ish, somewhere in there, that it gave me an avenue to really lean into this Vikings fandom and join the talks. And, one thing led to another. And now I'm on a podcast with Dave, and, you're in Florida, same situation. You're out of state, and, we're repping the purple hard out of state. And then you listen to Purple Daily shows, and all these people that come on the show, they're like overseas. They're in, outside of the state of Minnesota. It's truly incredible how many Vikings fans are out there across the world, and just how podcasting has changed,
I've had a
fandom.
German on my show.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that's awesome. What's our next topic here? I think we've kind of hit everything. Like, we are going to do a mock draft at some point. If you guys have questions in the comments, bring them up. Two Tone brought up Justin Fields as an option for quarterback. Dude, I am all the way out on Justin Fields. I don't think he can't read the field. I just don't think he would jive with Kevin O'Connell at all. And I understand that you're not going to pay him anything because he doesn't deserve anything. I just, if you bring him in as like a quarterback 3, I feel like that's where Justin Fields is right now. It's so bad. His tenure with the Jets, it was just such a failure.
Yeah, it's a lot riding on JJ McCarthy this year.
I would rather roll with like an Anthony Richardson over Justin Fields. And even then, it's like, I don't think that guy has shown anything.
Yeah, he hasn't shown.
He hasn't shown a pulse or the ability to really read a defense, or, so those are tough options.
We just got to get McCarthy to know how to have touch on the ball.
Yeah.
This is one of my biggest complaints when I saw watch Cousins play. I was like, why doesn't he throw it harder to give the receiver a chance to run when the guy's wide ass open? And I'm like, oh, now I know, because he might sail it like JJ McCarthy does on every throw.
It gives you more room for error. You don't have to be. It gives you room for error. You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing what Cousins seeing with the guy coming in his face. Reaction as to dump it over the top. When you see JJ McCarthy, guys coming in, he rifles it still, and it just goes out of bounds over.
Exactly.
I don't know how many times over Justin Jefferson's head on an out or a comebacker. It was awful to watch. So if he can, and I would, we got what you talked to Teddy Bridgewater. He was terrible at the deep ball. He was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
He didn't have strength. There's just no strength for it.
Just terrible deep ball. And so JJ McCarthy, again, he throws one speed. So, but Sam Darnold, man, he could do it. He could do every throw.
Oh yeah, there are times this year where we saw JJ McCarthy throw a nice arch pass. Like, there was a couple to Naylor, like on 4th down to the sideline, where I'm like, there it is. We need that more,
Or he threw it with anticipation.
Yeah, I need to see him get so much better at like the deep dig routes in the middle of the field, because that is where Justin Jefferson just kills defenses. And I feel like we didn't see like any of those types of passes from McCarthy this year. I saw a nice seam route to TJ Hawkinson, but I didn't see any layered throws over the middle. And that's where Kevin O'Connell's offense really can do damage.
And some of the best throws from Sam Darnold were those seams routes where he kind of threw it to the right shoulder to get the guy open. It's like, so he's got a ways to go. It's and it will slow down for him next year compared to what it was this year.
Yeah, but
the game will slow down. The more reps, the more it'll slow down.
You said at the top of the show, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to be smart. He's got to play much smarter. Yeah. Do you think we should go on to our mock draft now? We're 15 minutes in. I think that we should start the draft.
Let me figure it out.
And if you guys have any questions in the comments, send them to us.
I didn't add it. Sorry.
You're fine.
Screen. YouTube mock draft. Here we go. There we go. Share. So I'm Minnesota. Care position value, draft for needs, randomness, less inner draft. On the clock. Let's go to our pick.
Yeah, we're not trading up. Mendoza goes 1. Jeremiah Love went inside the top 5. Mansour Delane is a guy I'm really high on. All right. So who do we got? Caleb Banks, big defensive tackle out of Florida. And I mean big. That guy is a monster. Looking at who went before us, I think all the corners I like, unfortunately, did go. So Denzel Boston is a really big wide receiver. Kaden McDonald, he's kind of your run-stuffing defensive tackle. Doesn't offer a whole lot yet with pass rushing. He is a very young player. Sadiq is the tight end who's a physical freak, but he does not have a lot of college production. So kind of a projection there. Casey Concepcion is a really shifty and fast wide receiver prospect. That would be an interesting guy. And then Colton Hood is kind of your next tier of corner. He was the cornerback 1 at Tennessee, and he's really more of like a press man physical type of corner. Something that we don't really have right now on our team. Bigger guy, so that's something that's also kind of interesting. So he had a really good grade this year after Jamad McCoy is the guy who went in the top 10, I think, in this draft. He's like the toolsy physical freak kind of corner, and Colton Hood is kind of a good technician type guy. Let's look at after we look at him. So he had a foot injury. Caleb Banks did this year. So he only played 3 games this year. I think he got surgery, but he's at the Senior Bowl right now. Saw some clips of him today. He's looking good. Can you look at his
older player?
He's what's his age?
This is redshirt senior, so he's probably 23, 24.
He's 6'6", 330. I mean, he's just a monster. Can you go back to stats for a second?
Oh, stats. Okay.
Yeah. And see where he played. So 4 sacks last year, 21 hurries, and he lined up in the B gap most of the time. So, he's like a 3 technique type of player, and he's just a monster. So as long as he checks out medicals on the foot, that would be a guy that I would be interested in for sure at this draft slot. Let's take a look at our trade options here. George says defensive tackle. George also says, I want to nickname our next defensive tackle the Punisher. I like it. So what's our options here? Oh, yeah. PFF doesn't give you like an actual trade scenario, do they? They don't send you a package. They're just saying, hey, here's a team who wants to move down. So here's a team. Would we be able to get 55 from them? So take 22 and 55 from the Chargers.
Yeah, and they're not giving us all the picks because we only chose four rounds.
Correct.
So what are you saying? This and this?
Yeah, and then how do we send them picks back? It's been a minute since. There we go. And then we'll send them 18, and then send them maybe 97.
Oh, we can send them all our picks.
Yeah, but we're just not doing a full draft. Maybe click on 97 and see what that populates. A 63% chance.
Yeah.
So if we do that, we're moving back from 18 to 22.
Yeah.
And then we're picking up, we have 49, and then we're picking up 50 something. So we're moving up a lot of picks there from 97 to 50 something to, move back 4 spots here. And I still like some guys on the board.
Yeah.
Are you down with that trade?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's do that.
Okay, over the trade.
Wow,
Trade
really?
not accepted.
63% chance, and they say no. Throw them like a late round pick, see if it bumps it up. Like throw them 161 or something.
Well, let's give him 82.
No,
we can. In 86, no, that won't work. 97.
Go back. Yeah, click 97 and go 161. It really didn't change, does it?
Gives us
That's
12% more.
Offer that. There we go.
Okay.
So now we have
1886.
No, hit resume draft and it'll. So we have 22, 49, 55, and 82 now. So 4 picks in the top. And it looks like Caleb Banks went. So we have Denzel Boston, big wide receiver. Sadiq, the tight end. Concepcion is the wide receiver. So the wide receivers really fell in this draft. Keep going down here. You got Colton Hood. I like him as a corner. This is a guy. Now I don't know much about.
Stats.
Yeah, I don't know much about Christian Miller, but this is a guy where somebody linked him to the Vikings. They said this is a guy who can play up and down the line, and his size kind of indicates he's a 3 technique. His run defense grade is a 90. That's great. What's his pass rush grade there? It's kind of hidden for me. Go down, scroll down more. It's a 70. So he's more of a run stopper than a pass rusher. His pass rush win rate is 11.3. You want that to be higher than 10%. So that's not bad. Where does he line up here? Scroll down a little bit more.
A, B gap.
A and B gap. He's a 3 tech. I like this guy.
All right.
I need to watch tape on him, but I like the grades.
These are grades. Good grades.
Let's take him. George wanted a defensive
red
tackle.
Shirt here. So 4-year player.
So George, we just got ourselves the Punisher.
Christian Miller, the Punisher.
Welcome to Minnesota.
We're not going to get a great grade because he was ranked 30th, but
that's fine. Now I'm thinking safety here for our next pick potentially. There goes Dylan Thieneman. All right, let's see what we got. We got to go Deontay Lawson, right? Just because of my name. I love EMW. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Look at his grade. He plays in the MAC, so it's not the best competition. But this guy is going to be a physical freak. Look at his coverage grade, 92.
That's great.
He fits the run game very, very well.
6'2".
6'2", 202, good size. Now, this is the guy that Daniel Jeremiah actually mocked to the Vikings at pick 18. Okay, so
Daniel Jeremiah, crazy.
Yeah, so he might not even be there at this pick come draft time because he had a lot of safeties going high. Let's roll with this guy. Welcome to Minnesota. We got our safety.
All right.
Now we're going to pick at 55. There we go.
Another safety.
D'Angelo Pons. That is a guy I love. So he is a feisty, small, think Antoine Winfield, man. He plays like Antoine Winfield. He has a nose for the ball. He is a little bit of a ball hawk, and he can tackle. Run defense of 86. Coverage grade of 89.5. The only knock on him is he's short. I'm all in on this guy.
Okay. Yeah, looks like a good
I mean, look at what we are doing on defense with these 3 picks. This would be a home run start for our draft. I love that trade that we made to get 3 early picks like that for moving back 4 spots. All right, I feel like we need to go offense with this last one. See if a center's on the board. There goes Jake Slaughter. Oh, Jonah Coleman, man. Think Maurice Jones-Drew. He doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he's built like a brick shithouse. Look at his size. Go to first look tab. 5'9", 230. He's a bowling ball, dude.
Yeah.
So, it kind of depends. So, it's up to you because it's a little bit redundant with what you get with Jordan Mason, to be honest with you. But Jonah Coleman can pass protect very well. He's very good at it. I feel like we need that on our team because we're losing C.J. Ham.
1,200 yards by this receiver.
Yeah, Skylar Bell is he's on Twitter right now. You can find him. He's a really shifty route runner. He's smoking guys right now at I think it's the Shrine Bowl he's at. So that's an option. We already went corner. He's a
And
big
enough
guy.
corners, right?
Yeah. He's a big dude. Can you click on the center tab for me? I want to see if there's any centers available. Grandizier said later in the draft, maybe Cole Wisniewski. He's a strong safety out of Texas Tech. He had a good Shrine Bowl. Thank you for that information. Don't forget to look up the legend that is the Godfather, Dante Corleone, defensive tackle, Cincinnati. Absolutely. It's a guy to watch out for.
Here's a guy to look for later. 6'5", 311. Let's see, redshirt senior.
Pat Coogan. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. Was he the top rated center available?
Well, the one that's listed as a center, it's inside lineman, and he's the first one that's a center.
Yeah. We kind of missed the run on centers. That's like the only thing about this draft is I do wish that we had a guy there.
Skylar Bell.
He's kind of a slot only guy, though, in my opinion. 6 foot 185. He's kind of small. Go back down. Jacoby Lane, I think, is a guy. Yeah, USC. Click on him. 6'4", 200. That's what I'm looking for. This is a guy. This is a guy that was surprising. They thought he was going to go back to school and he was going to be a first round pick next year, and he ended up coming out this year. Yeah, Malachi Fields. He's a big dude, 6'4", 222. He's intriguing too. I think I would go Lane over Fields though. If wide receiver is what you're trying to pull the trigger on here. Click on that tight end, Max. Yeah, who's that? Max Clare. 6'5", 243. See, I haven't done any homework on these tight ends. I don't know anything about them right now. 43 receptions. Receiving grade's not great.
Yeah, it's pretty home.
Justin Jolly, what a great name. 6'3", 263. He's just a monster. He got a better receiving grade. Let's add the receiver. Let's go Lane. Or the halfback, Maurice Jones-Drew 2.0 and Jonah Coleman. He's kind of a steal at this point, to be honest. The only question is, do you find it too redundant? Look at the other backs. Go to running back for me. Scroll down. Nick Singleton, he is going to be one of the highest relative athletic scores you'll ever see at the running back position. He is an athletic freak. Apparently, he runs like a 4.2 40, but his issue is that he can't read a hole. That's why he didn't play as much as he did at Penn State. How many carries did he have this last year? Attempts, 124 for only 546 yards. So like his issue is he just can't read the line. But he's like your, lightning in a bottle type guy. Maybe you hit on a guy and he looks something like a Gibbs with his athletic ability if he can put it together. But Jonah Coleman is more of this guy he knows how to read the line. He's going to be a good running back for a long time. He's just not going to score from long distance. He's very much like a little bit redundant to what we have in Jordan Mason. I just think he's a better version of Jordan Mason.
So what do you think?
Go down a little bit more. Do they have pass blocking grades for him? They just have a rushing grade and a zone grade, but not pass blocking. Thor told me that he's a really good pass blocker. I'm going to leave it up to you. Wide receiver or running back?
Probably need to go with running back.
Take Jonah.
There we go.
And that completes our 4-round mock. See how they graded us. I think that they're going to dislike our first pick.
Yeah.
I like that trade we swung, though. It got us that extra pick in the second round. We missed out on Caleb Banks in order to do that, but we got a player who has less injury risk than Caleb Banks in our first round pick. Christian Miller.
And it's telling us we should have went with Denzel Boston.
Yeah, I like him. So they gave us a C for Christian Miller. They gave us a B for EMW, a B for Pons, and an A for Coleman. A solid B overall for the draft. I wonder why they don't like Miller, just because they graded him 30th overall, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I want to watch his tape. He sounds... Then I'll tag you in the tweet that I saw that says, watch out for this guy. The Vikings tend to like players who can play all up and down the defensive line.
Well, and you think about it, too, our defensive tackles are all going to be back. So,
and then
is it that high a priority for us?
Actually, so Grand Desir actually did like Pat Coogan as a potential center. He says he's like in the top 10 center discussion for this draft. He likes our draft. Fixing the Vikes tonight, copy and paste this, send it to Quasey. And then he also said Brian Parker, the second at Duke, played center. He would be interesting too. So we'll do our homework next time. We'll have these guys in mind, and we'll start doing longer, like 5, 6, 7 round drafts once we get these names down a little bit. I'm still very early in the draft prep, but man, that's all I had for tonight. Dave, did you have anything else on the docket you wanted to get off our chest before we wrapped up the show?
I stand with Paul Allen.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I stand with Paul Allen, man.
Free Paul.
Screw you haters. All right.
No, I see. In all seriousness, I did want to say this. We didn't lead the show with this. I meant to. My thoughts and my prayers are with the people of Minnesota and Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the whole situation, regardless of what side of politics you may be on. We're all human beings. I just want everyone to be safe. And that includes the federal agents and that includes the citizens. I want everybody to be safe. And I just want peace and love and compassion in the world. And in terms of Paul Allen, I love him as a person, as a man. I think he's a great man. Obviously a faithful man. He believes in Jesus Christ as his Savior and Lord. And I'm not the most religious person, but I respect him and his, and his beliefs. And I think he's a hell of a play caller, the voice of the Vikings. And it's clear to me that he loves the Minnesota Vikings more than, probably any of us can imagine loving the Minnesota Vikings. So I will say that, I'll be there for Paul when he comes back, and hope that he's doing okay. And I hope the people of Minnesota, get through this. It's been a really tough couple of weeks here. So thinking about you guys.
I guess I got white guilt too. I share the same thing. I wanted everybody to be safe. I just glad it looks like that the local police will start cooperating with ICE and we won't see this kind of shit. And that was my hope all along. Hopefully they stick with that and do that. I'm not holding my breath. I trust Waltz as far as I can throw him. But hey, yeah. I'm here for Paul Allen. I want more Paul Allen.
Hell less.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Communist.